Ah, the humble omelet. So many ways, so many variations, so many different pans, depending on what kind of omelet you're making. This is for a Japanese style omelet. So many ways to do an omelet. Today we're going to do what I call an egg foo young omelet, or egg foo young. Basically it's going to be just like an egg foo young, and we're going to put beef gravy over it. Gravies and sauces, you got plenty of instant mixes and so on. I'm not going to get into those because that's a whole different venue of things, and it takes a lot of time and experience to get your sauces, your thicknesses, and everything correctly on that. So I'm going to show you how to make the egg foo young omelet. You in turn then can put your own sauce, or you can even just serve it on the side without any sauce if you want. So for today's little entourage, we're using this pan. It has a slight curving slope to it. This will allow me to flip and move and fold the omelet up the way that I want, because we're not doing a half omelet. Your deeper pans is used for thicker, and we're not going to be working with that today. We're definitely not going to do a bento omelet, and we're not doing half egg omelets. Okay, very simple. We're going to take a jar of sliced mushrooms, a can of Asian vegetables, drain it very well. There we go. Drain it very well and mix them together. Boom, that's done. Then we're going to take 6 to 7 eggs, depending on what you're making. And again, we're going to have my grandmother's recipe measurement method, which is a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, whip it up just like you would an omelet. Whip it good. Make sure it's really blended up in there. Otherwise you'll wind up with yolk clumps. There we go. Then we want to take about 3/4 of this and pour it into our vegetable mixture. And we're just going to mix this up really well. That's it. Now we do the cooking. So we're going to preheat this just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is a little extra virgin olive oil onto a saucer. Folded paper towel. I'm just going to use the corner. Even though this is a ceramic, like my ceramic, either that or go with just straight steel skillet. I want to cover it just a little bit so it doesn't stick. Reach across here. I can't use this up here because we just made the gravy and that's hot, so. Now I'm simply going to take this. raise the heat a little bit on that. Once it starts bubbling, then I'll scoop it in. This way I'm creating a little sidewall basically. Still not quite hot enough to create the sidewall. We'll let it heat for a second. There we go. Now we're starting to get a, when I do this, it rolls back. And we build this up. Want this nice and firm. We're going to take a little bit of our extra egg mixture and pour it onto the top. A little bit on the side there. Now remember, this is much thicker than a common omelet, so you've got to let it cook a little bit. You get your fire too high, and instead of getting a brown coating, you get burnt. This is not going to be one of those flippy things. A little more egg base underneath this. What I'm doing is I'm lifting it and letting it run underneath, so you make a good base for lifting it out of the pan, otherwise it'll just come apart on you. Press it and there's still fluid coming up, it's not cooked all the way. You do not want an undercooked omelet of any sort. care what you call it. If you're cooking with egg, make sure that that little puppy is really cooked. Got a little moisture in there. That's why the vegetables have to be really drained well. Otherwise, you will not get it cooked in the center. There'll be too much fluid, too much liquids. You notice how I'm shuffling and flipping? If you're not used to doing that, make them smaller. The smaller they are, the easier they are to handle. And we got our gravy. Remember, this stuff, as it cools, is going to thicken up. And that's, once again, you got to be really careful when it comes to sauces and gravies. And there you go. A basic egg foo young.